Okay, so this is a quick video on UV mapping. Um, we're just going to create a simple UV map texture for a crate, and I'm going to show you two ways that you can do that. First one, fairly straightforward. You just download an image of an existing crate. Yeah, why not? Save, desktop, save. Okay. First thing you want to do is, once you've got your crate texture saved, is just create what would essentially be the 3D model version. That's not right. There we go. And just center that. Okay. So we've got our little box here. It's going to be our crate. I'm just going to turn shaded on so you can actually see all the sides. Now this is one of the really quick and simple easy ways to texture. So first of all, you can open your material editor up here, or you can hit M on the keyboard. You just drag and drop your first available texture slot onto the model. Go to this little box here next to diffuse that says none. Select bitmap. Go to wherever it is that you've saved it, so I've saved it on my desktop. Go back to parent, and then just hit this checker box to show the texture. And that's it. That is really simple, really quick way to get a texture on there. Now, if you want to be a bit more interesting with your texturing, you want to add, for instance, a fragile sign across one side, a sort of delivery stamp on another. Now, this is where you do require some sort of editing software. So I'm using Photoshop. Basically, if I open this in Photoshop, if I just drag it into there, and create a new layer, if I start drawing on this, for example, I want to say the words fragile, obviously you would have the official sticker, or you might have made your own, or use some text or something. But if I was to just save that, okay, and go back to my 3D model, you'll notice that because, although I've only drawn it on once in Photoshop, because it's copying that same texture all the way around, it's drawn fragile everywhere. Now, if you don't want that, if you want it to actually look like it actually has it on different panels, but not all the panels are the same, you'd need a texture that's sort of similar to this. So I'm just going to take this first one and just save over the top of that. Go back to my 3D model, and yeah, it's saved. And basically, this isn't what we want. Okay. However, it's, if you ever flattened out boxes as a kid, or did anything like that, it pretty much looks like this T shape, or something similar. So what we need to do is go to your modify tab, and if you go to unwrap UVW, what you can do with this is select all of the polygons, so it's all highlight red. Press Ctrl A if you can't click and drag. Sometimes if you click and drag, you might find it doesn't select the other side. There's an option on here under select by that says ignore backfacing. It is helpful sometimes, but in this case it's not, so switch it off, click and drag, and you should be able to select everything. So what you want to do is hit this little lightning bolt, and you should see your texture go a bit weird and stretched, and that's fine, do not worry about that for now. So select your first polygon, and you can actually go all the way around this, leave off the two sides, and then hit the lightning bolt. Sorry, it's actually called quick planar map, but I just call it the lightning bolt. So what you should see is a green highlight. Now this green highlight is telling the model where it's gonna split and flatten itself out. And if we just select those same faces again and open our UV editor, you will see it's just a box. Hit the planar map, it snaps back, goes to the same bit. If you scroll down in here now, normally if you're doing characters and stuff, this is fine. Most objects like buildings, crates and that, I don't think are actually that really useful with this. If you start hitting pelt map, and I've never seen that happen before. So, okay, so I've had a bit of a weird glitch where it just zoomed me out quite extensively. But anyway, it's not really doing what I want it to do. If you see, it's still, if I select all those edges, it's still stretching the texture. It's not showing me what I need. There is an option on here that you can flatten and custom, and it's kind of done it, I guess, a little bit. If you select each of these faces, you know, you can see that it's done it there. That's actually not bad to start with, but then you've got these two other faces. But if you select those, hit explode, it'll do the same, and they're all approximately the same size, which is quite handy for this. Now, what we want to do is be able to see where this overlays onto our texture that we're using. Now, obviously there's a lot of white background that we don't want, so you do need to overlay it a bit more accurately. Now, to do that, in your UV editor, just select the checker pattern drop down and select your texture. And if you haven't got it switched on, switch this checkered box on to show the texture in the map, in the viewport, sorry. So what we can do now is start selecting these faces, placing it over the existing texture, and you can actually start to just reshape, resize. If you find your model is a bit off, or you find it's, you know, not quite reaching the corner, what you can do is come down to the bottom left where it says vertex, and you can actually select the move tool up here as well. You can actually just move it into place. Zoom right in if you want. You don't need to do it, you know, from far and guess. You can actually get it quite accurate, and you can do it that way. It does take a little bit of time. However, once you've done that, it will be quite handy. So I'm just gonna finish that up. Okay, so now that we've lined that all up, if I minimize this, what we should have is a fully textured crate. Okay, render it, you can see it. Now, if I was to go into Photoshop and just get rid of that, go to File, Open, go to Desktop, find that image. Okay, so same as before. If I wanted to write fragile this way up, or anything else that you generally find on a crate, what I might be tempted to do is create a new layer so that I don't affect the existing texture, and this way up. At the moment, the text is quite small, not really the way it should be. But you can change that. You can, if you know how to use Photoshop, you'll know how to do this. You can just edit the text, change the size, change the color. I'm gonna pick one that's a bit more. There's ones that work really well for this, but ones that just don't. Maybe not. We'll go with this one. Well, if you're doing this, just maybe put a bit more effort in than I actually am with this. Just gonna add a stroke. Okay, I've just done that just so you can see it a bit better. Maybe rotate it. Maybe not. Oh, it's interesting. Redo, undo. Huh. Oh, it doesn't let me go back. Never mind. Okay, so this way up, let's see, duplicate, have this one. The good thing is that once you've done it, you can kind of just change it to be how you want it to be, really. So red, and make it a bit bigger. If I can actually grab it. And you can do whatever you want. You can start adding in your own labels, and if I just create a new layer, something. I should have really just done that. So yeah, you can start adding in your own layers, your own labels, things like that. And once you're done, you just need to save it. Now, when you're saving files, obviously I haven't been very good with mine, but what you should be doing is putting them in a folder that's appropriate and naming them appropriately. So things like crate underscore texture underscore 1. If you're going to have more than one type of crate in your scene, just keep it really simple. Honest opinion for this is save one as either as a bitmap, and then if you really want to, or if you feel that you're going to come back to it, do a bit more work, save a crate underscore texture underscore 1, and just call it master, just for the sake of saving all your layers and things like that, making it really easy to come back to. And if I go to my desktop, you can see in here I've got my create one texture and my create one master, and I can always just go back to that, do what I want to it, and update it for here. And the other thing as well, so I want to now apply this texture. I go into here, click bitmap, go to create and select texture 1. And what it should do is update. Now, the fragile is written on one side, the plaque on another, this way up on another. So, you can kind of see how unwrapping a model has helped, and let me just sort of have a bit more freedom with this. So that covers basic UV mapping, basic unwrapping, and texturing to some extent. I'm gonna do another session on texturing, but I'm gonna sort of gear it a bit more to creating foliage for games. I hope this was helpful.